Pocono, the only man.
Tracy says nice guys won't win this championship. That's why he's like he is.
Who told him I'm a nice guy? The people get the wrong impression of me.
In the middle of Ohio lies the beating heart of road racing in the Buckeye State, the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Site of round 13 of the Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford. But before you can race the Champ Car Grand Prix of Mid-Ohio, you must qualify. And right now, there are 3 Canadians sitting 1, 2, and 3 on the provisional starting grid. Welcome live here on Speed Channel. I'm Bob Barsha. We're in the midst of the busiest part of the season for the 750 horsepower Champ Cars. They're coming in off a wild race in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin that shook up the championship. A pre-race cloudburst led to a rain delay of nearly 3 hours at Road America. When the race was finally flagged away on a wet track, Bruno Junqueira led the field from his first pole position of the year, and the championship quickly took on a whole new look. Paul Tracy tried a first lap move that sent the points leader slithering into the tire wall. Behind him, same corner, same lap. Third at points, Michel Jourdain spun, collecting Tiago Montero and Darren Manning. The race was shortened from 60 laps to 34, from 3 pit stops to 2, putting extra stress on the crews. Bruno Junqueira, Sebastian Bourdais, and Manning benefited. Patrick Carpentier, Jimmy Vasser, and Ryan Hunter-Reay suffered. On the final lap, Manning began losing gears and positions, handing 4th to Max Pappas, then 5th to Carpentier. But there was no catching Bruno Junqueira, who led his teammate Sebastian Bourdais home in a 1-2 finish for Newman Haas Racing. The win was Junqueira's second in 3 races for 2 different teams at Road America. But more importantly, it was the Brazilian's first win of the season. He swept the maximum 23 points on the weekend to move by Tracy into the championship lead for the first time in his career. And here's how that championship looks, with positions that have changed since we last saw you here on Speed Channel. Bruno Junqueira and Paul Tracy switched positions, but by virtue of being the quickest man in Friday's first round of qualifying, Paul Tracy has narrowed the points gap to leader Junqueira to just 2. Sebastian Bourdais and Patrick Carpentier have also swapped spots, and Darren Manning has moved up into the top 8 for Walker Racing. To Oriol Servia in 6th spot falls the mantle of the highest-ranking driver in the championship who has yet to win a race in 2003. To the pit lane and Derek Daly.
And Bob, by virtue of great consistency, Bruno Junqueira vaults right to the top of the championship table, having won just 1 race at Elkhart Lake last weekend. But this is year 3 for Bruno in this Champ Car Championship, and year 3 has always been good to Bruno. Have a look at this graph here. In year 3, he wins a South American Formula 3 Championship. Then he goes to Europe for the ultra-competitive European Formula 3 Championship 3000, and he wins that in year 3. So, as Bruno Junqueira prepares for what might be a 2-man shootout here in this championship, Bruno, you look very relaxed, I know. Tracy and yourself have been combatants all year. Now it could be a 2-man fight for this championship. Do you see it that way?
It's still a little bit long to say that. I think Michel Jourdain and Sebastian Bourdais still have a chance. But for sure, I think Tracy is my main competition, and I have to focus, try to finish the race and try to finish ahead of him.
Yesterday, Bruno, you ended up 11th fastest in qualifying. Does that represent the speed of the car, or was that because of problems?
No, the Pacific Air car was good. We were, I think, 2nd or 3rd fastest in the morning practice. But we had so much traffic in qualify, and after the red flag came on, we couldn't have one clear lap. And I think we timed a little bit wrong that time we went to the track. People were going out with cold tires, and for sure could do much better.
Thank you, Bruno. In fact, this morning, he was 2nd fastest to his teammate, Sebastian Bourdais. But there is no doubt the man he will have to beat for this championship is in that number 3 player's car, and he is with Calvin Fish. Calvin?
Derek, well, PT has led this championship since round 1 in St. Petersburg, and Paul, after the disastrous swing in Europe, you've gradually built the points lead back up, and then in one weekend you see it vanish. How much frustration does that leave you with?
Definitely frustrating. My mistake in Elkhart.
I locked the brakes in the rain, and that was it. I slid off the track and tried to get it through the gravel trap, and just the thing went for the tire wall. So, you know, we just have to bounce back from that and not think about it. And we came out this weekend and refocused, put it on the pole yesterday, and we'll try to repeat that today.
You really seem to have a game face on this weekend, Paul. There's no joking around. You're really serious about what's happening here. The pole yesterday really gives you a lot more options today, and qualifying here on a track that's very difficult to pass on is critical.
It's definitely hard to pass here, so qualifying is important. We've been saving our tires, so, you know, the car wasn't as good as I would have liked it this morning. Some guys stepped it up this morning, so we need to raise our game this afternoon.
Okay, well, it's going to be a very close battle out there this afternoon. The Newman Haas boys back on top in practice this morning, Bob.
No doubt about it. This is going to be a lot of fun. Thank you, Calvin. Along with Bob Varsha, Tommy Kendall, Scott Pruitt is off racing a Winston Cup car at Watkins Glen this weekend. TK, you've won plenty of championships. And with all due respect to the fact that we've got a long way to go this season, and Michel Jourdain and Sebastian Bourdais and so on are trying very hard, what's it like for Bruno Junqueira and Paul Tracy when your championship view goes from the entire field to just one competitor?
Well, it helps when you narrow that down. It filters out some of the noise that allows you to maybe overthink situations. But the reality is, for those two guys, I really like Bruno's approach all year. He hasn't had the speed, but he's kept himself in contention, has one good weekend, and wham, he's right there. But basically, you've got a 7-race championship where two guys are dead even. So Paul, when he says he has to wipe the slate clean, he really has to do that. Can he? Well, that remains to be seen.
No question, they'll be watching each other all weekend long, beginning with qualifying this afternoon. Now, here's a look at Friday's first round when Tracy was up top, picked up that bonus championship point and a guaranteed front row spot for Sunday's race. Alex Tagliani, second quick. The Rocket Sports team doing a great job, as they did a week ago at Road America when Tagliani wound up on the podium. And then Patrick Carpentier, the third Canadian in the top three and the defending race champion here at Mid-Ohio. Michel Jourdain, third in the championship, qualified provisionally in fifth, followed by Sebastian Bourdais. Way back in 11th was our points leader, Bruno Junqueira, followed by Adrian Fernandez. He and Carpentier, the only two drivers in the field with a previous win here at Mid-Ohio. Now, today it's qualifying. Tomorrow it's the race, live here on Speed Channel, and we'll have it for you beginning with a pre-race program at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So join us then for Money Day here at Mid-Ohio. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Welcome back. An annual feature here at the Mid-Ohio round of the championship is called a Taste of Kart to raise funds for the Championship Auto Racing Auxiliary. The chefs at each of the team motorhomes prepare dishes for the fans. Max Pappas will give you a guided tour tomorrow, but here now is a taste of Kart.
Here we are at Newman Haas with my favorite part of the dinner, the dessert. And they prepare something really special. I'm not so sure what it is. They say it's a...
Pavlova. Pavlova.
What is that?
Pavlova. It's Australian.
I guess that this time they got me.
Well, Max Pappas is here. He's going to be one of the early runners in qualifying. Max, we watched the fun last night, but the fun stops when you now have to go out and qualify.
Yeah, absolutely. Yesterday was I received a cake in my face, and it was kind of funny. But now we focus on bringing a top 10 qualifying for PK Racing, and we see what we can do from here.
On the heels of Elkhart Lake, this team's got to feel good.
It's pretty awesome. You know, Champ Car is just an awesome thing to drive, and it's a great fun. Now just need to find the best way to bring the best out of my car.
Thank you, Mad Max.
That's right, Max Pappas and the PK Racing team finished a season-high 4th at Road America. On the last lap, the last corner, Darren Manning had lost third gear, and he was caught by Patrick Carpentier, and that was fourth place. Previously on that lap, Manning had lost another spot to the man we just heard from, Max Pappas. Let's hear from Darren Manning now with Calvin.
Well, Darren Manning, 2 top 6 finishes last 2 races, and yesterday morning in with heavy cloud conditions here, you were the fastest man on the racetrack. The sun is out. How does that affect the rain out here?
Yeah, it's not so good really. We tend to lose a lot of balance, and obviously you lose a lot of air pressure, so the aerodynamic grip goes down, and you lose. We lost a lot of balance in the in qualifying. So hopefully we'll get one of these big clouds to come over just as we're going out for qualifying. But we'll see how it goes. Hopefully we've made the car better. we've learnt a lot from the night races, though, so hopefully that'll stand us in good stead.
We need some English weather for you this afternoon.
Absolutely. We don't mind it. I don't mind it raining.
All right, mate. Good luck.
Darren Manning is really coming on strongly here in the second half of the Champ Car season. Coming your way tomorrow here on Speed Channel, the Rolex Sports Car Series race from Watkins Glen, New York. Check it out at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, only here on Speed Channel. We'll be back to Mid-Ohio. Sports car course in round 13 of the Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford, the Champ Car Grand Prix of Mid-Ohio. Final qualifying today to set the field for Sunday's race, which you'll see live here on Speed Channel. I'm Bob Barsha along with Tommy Kendall, Derek Daly, and Calvin Fisher in the pit lane, and about to head on track for 10 minutes of pre-qualifying practice, our 19 750 horsepower Champ Cars. Gentlemen, the course is yours. Servia first out, followed by Patrick Carpentier, then the Ardez teammates Mario Dominguez and Roberto Moreno. Two yellow cars from Dale Coyne Racing. Here's a look at the road qualifying rules of the Champ Car Series. We're in the 10-minute open practice, unlimited laps for the drivers on old tires, then a 10-minute break when the crews can work on the cars. Then they're out for 40 minutes of time qualifying, 25 minutes of guaranteed green flag time. So they'll extend the session if they need to get in 25 green flag minutes. But the drivers are allowed only 15 laps apiece on the clock. And if you bring out the red flag, you lose your fast lap. Yesterday, that happened to Jimmy Vasser in the dying seconds of the opening round of qualifying when he got off track and into the tire wall in the carousel. Speaking of which, let's take a look at the track map. TK?
Now you hear all the drivers talk about how physically demanding Mid-Ohio is. The reason is there's very little rest, and sustained G loads means sustained effort. From turn 4 all the way back to start finish, there is not a second's rest. In the straightaways from turn 1 up to the keyhole, and even the back straightaway with that kink don't provide much. So you saw it's similar to Cleveland in that regard, where the guys were really gassed afterwards. Mid-Ohio is even more difficult than Cleveland if it runs green.
There's a lot of speculation going on about the future of this racetrack in the Champ Car Series. We'll talk about that later. Here's a look at some of the highlights of Friday, and look at the bumps down there in the twisty section on the backside as car after car went porpoising through. That's Patrick Carpentier on the right, mildly blocking Jimmy Vasser. But it got more serious just moments later as Max Pappas had to come to a virtual stop while Carpentier was trying to gap Vasser in order to get on the gas. Meanwhile, his teammate Paul Tracy right here was the fastest man in the session, picking up yet another provisional qualifying pole and a championship bonus point. Back on board with Tracy live now. Here's a look at the track records. Believe it or not, in consecutive years, in 1999 and 2000, Dario Franchitti and Gilles de Ferran hit the exact same lap time to the 1,000th of a second, averaging almost 125 miles an hour. And of course, those cars were more powerful with a different aerodynamic configuration than the current Champ cars. Last year, Patrick Carpentier went 66 seconds and change. Yesterday, Paul Tracy's provisional pole was a 67.204.
And the track here from the very first sessions, the first dry session, they were in the 12s. The next session, they were in the 8s. Qualifying, they're down in the 7s. Testing here the quickest time, Paul Tracy got down to the 5s. So the track really does change a lot as the weekend progresses. The main reason for that is the concrete patches in every corner. You'll see them at the apex of virtually every corner. There's usually a thin strip of asphalt right on the inside that has more grip than the concrete, but the concrete tends to add grip through the weekend, maybe falling off in the later parts of the races, but expect the track to be maybe at least a second quicker in today's session. And those concrete patches are really critical. When you turn in, if you don't get your inside tires inside on the darker black asphalt, it's like you miss, your car comes off the track virtually, like at Disneyland, the Utopia. If you don't get that inside wheel hooked inside there, the difference is you can pick up the throttle and gas it, or you have to wait. So, I mean, it's almost like your car feels like it's locking into a groove when you get those inside tires inside of the concrete.
Even from that camera of Paul Tracy's line of sight, you can see that there are several blind brows that you just take with your right foot planted. Now, Tracy has absolutely kicked in the door here at Mid-Ohio. He has no poles and no wins, but he has started second here 3 times and finished second in the race 4 times, all in the decade of the 90s. On the long backstretch, this is a very downhill section of the racetrack. Doesn't look it on the TV screen. It plunges downhill, and then this uphill. Here's the first of the blind brows. Here's a look at Tracy's record here at Mid-O. 10 starts, 6 top 5 finishes, and 4 DNFs. It's been pretty much total success or total failure here for PT, but he has yet to get that first win here. Here's another program note. FIA World Rally Finland will be coming your way here on Speed Channel. Check it out tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. For my money, the greatest drivers in the world, the stars of the World Rally Championship. See why, 9 o'clock tomorrow night here on Speed Channel. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Champ Car qualifying live from Mid-Ohio, and as we see right now, the championship leader Bruno Junqueira is not in the car. They're not going to take advantage of this 10-minute session, and that goes the same for his teammate Sebastien Bourdais. So a little bit different strategy here. We're going to try and catch a word here with Craig Hampson. Craig, you've decided to keep your driver out of this session. You've got a smile on your face. You said Bruno did that to good effect last weekend. Tell us about why you're not running this short session today.
Well, I think at Elkhart, actually, we got ourselves in a little trouble because we ran on used tires in a 10-minute session right after the touring cars ran. The track was really bad, and we got a read on the car, which was just confusing. Made a change, then when we ran the stickers, it just wasn't the right thing to do. So we're a little short of good condition tires right now, and so I think we just get ourselves confused, so we're going to stand around and wait for qualifying.
All right, well, we don't need confusion down here. They were 1-2 in the morning practice session. Let's go further down pit lane to Double D.
Alex Tagliani in conversation with his engineer Will Phillips here. Now, everything they do in these test sessions is fully documented. Here's a look at crew chief Tom Howitt's list that he was given by the engineers prior to this session. If you can read it: warm-up gearbox, baseline, changes, back to baseline so you don't get lost. Then it says be prepared for 1 through 10, everything from springs, shocks, and this is circulated to all the mechanics, so they got their tools ready and the shocks and springs and everything else, camber shims they need, so as he doesn't spend any time unnecessary in the pit lane here.
You can see just how complex the setup process is on these cars. Jimmy Vasser has stopped on course and brought out a red flag. He's in turn 5. Simple Green kart safety team is out to attend to him. Imagine they run out of gas, but or methanol in this case. And now the checkered flag follows. So the 10-minute practice is now over. And the teams will have 10 minutes to tweak the cars if they choose before we go green for final qualifying. We just heard from Jimmy Vasser radioing to his crew that they'd better get the backup car ready. So apparently it's something a bit more catastrophic than just running out of methanol. There is Tiago Montero making his way onto the pit lane, and it's an interesting pit lane here because there's a slight uphill until just about the point where Montero parked. The Dale Coyne crew is parked on that hill, and that's going to complicate their pit stops because they're going to have to keep the car from rolling backwards when they stop. Montero, the fast man in the session, and that's exactly where he was after the first session on Friday. So the young Portuguese driver for Fittipaldi Dingman is getting his first taste of being at the top of the charts. We'll take a look at the top 10 of the session. Montero, Manning, Servia, Moreno, then Dominguez, Tracy, Oberfeld, Ryan Hunter-Ray, Walter Salas, and Jimmy Vasser. We'll take a break and come back for more from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, getting ready for final qualifying for the Champ Car Grand Prix of Mid-Ohio. Be sure to tune in to Speed News every Saturday and Sunday here on Speed Channel. Tonight, Ralph Shaheen and the newest member of our newsroom, Lee Diffie, will be your host for 30 minutes of highlights and news from around the world of motorsports. That's Speed News Saturday tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, only here on Speed Channel. Welcome back live to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. As I mentioned at the top of our program, this is a very busy part of the season. 5 races in 6 weeks. Here's where we stand. Paul Tracy won at Vancouver. Bruno Junqueira at Road America. This week it's Mid-Ohio, then a weekend open before we go to Montreal and then Denver. Now, in Vancouver 2 weeks ago, we had an absolutely wild affair where Bruno Junqueira jumped the start. Paul Tracy's team went below. Later on, 2 other pairs of cars tangled. Now, the teams give us permission to eavesdrop on their radio communications. But as you're about to see, sometimes they may wish they hadn't.
Ready, green, green, green. Full. The fuck was that? You put in a protest on that. Yep, 10-4, we have already protested. Let's just calm down and get after this. We've reported it. Can't have said that the start was correct. It's bullshit. We just got to forget about it now and concentrate on the job in hand. Hey, you see what Carter's doing? This is exactly what Carter's doing. You know, the guy totally jumped the start. Yep, 10-4. Okay, Paul Junqueira has been told he's bound to argue about it for a lap or two. Just stay patient, stay right up his ass. Good move, okay. Now we just got to pull a gap. You okay?
Montero just hit me in the back, put me in the tire.
You got any damage there? We can't see anything here. What's that? What's it look like?
Oh, I'm done. The car is in the tire, completely destroyed.
What a stupid motherfucker. Okay, you are the crown king of the streets, and your mom says don't screw up the donuts. Okay, okay, that's your Montreal race motor. Good job, buddy.
Well, Paul certainly didn't screw up the donuts there. And PT, talk about the schedule that you guys are in right now. 5 races in 6 weeks, and Montreal coming up puts a lot of pressure on you drivers.
No, it does. It's been a, this June, July, August is a tough part of the schedule. We've had basically about 1 weekend off in the past 8 weeks. So we have a weekend off. Most teams have a weekend off this weekend coming before Montreal, but Pat and myself, we have to go up to Montreal on Sunday to start our media tour up there. So no, not a lot of rest.
Talk about the times in that short practice session. Seems like everyone's lost a lot of pace again. This track changes constantly.
It's always changing here, and it can either be really, really fast or really slow. And, the pace just in this warm-up was 10s, and that's 4 seconds off what we did yesterday. So we're going to sit and wait and just see how the times progress.
Okay, we expect a lot of the front runners to wait until the very end of this session, get some more rubber down. But meanwhile, further down, Derek Daly is with Tagliani.
Indeed, Tag is in consultation here with the Johnson Controls team. But last week at Elkhart Lake, it was certainly memorable, not just in the race, but what happened in practice. Look at this here. This is Alex Tagliani just vaults over the back of Mario Haberfeld. Haberfeld and Montero were slow on the straight. Tag could not avoid it. Look at this slow-mo. This completely destroyed this car. Tagliani, as you can see, just bits of the car all over it into the gravel trap. That car has now gone to England. It was that badly damaged. But Alex Tagliani today, Tag, if I can just grab it just for 1 second. Oh, you're in conversation here. Tag, last week, it turned out well because you went up on the rostrum, but that was a scary moment in practice.
Well, I mean, it's a difficult corner because you're coming up over the bridge and it's blind, and we reach speeds of 160 miles an hour, and I think Haberfeld was about 38 miles an hour. So when I hit him, I was around 100. So we avoid the worst, but it's something that you don't want to do for every weekend because the guys have to work too hard.
Exactly. Tag, this weekend here, you were second fastest yesterday, this morning, I believe, was second fastest in one of the sessions. You feel good here? I know this is a very physical track, but also a technical track.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday the car was good. We went out early, we did our lap. I know that some of the guys were blocked by traffic. So this morning we ran, we were second quickest until the end, and we didn't sticker it up, and everybody else in front of us put stickers. So I think we have a good car, and we're trying to stay up front for this qualifying too.
Thank you, Tag. I think it's easy for us all to forget this Johnson Controls team is so new and they've gone so well this year. I don't know whether a win is on the cards, but they certainly, for gathering a whole new group of people to work as well as they have so quickly, has been pretty impressive, boys.
I agree completely, Derek. Even if they don't do anything else the rest of the season, the podiums they've gotten thus far really are a great start. Now there's Jimmy Vasser sitting on the pit wall. Notice no race car. He was stuck on track, bringing out the red flag that ended this session. His car is back in the garage area. Now here's the rules wrinkle. If his primary car is not ruled irreparable, he will not be allowed to go to the backup car. So Jimmy Vasser may have some serious issues along with his American Spirit Team Johansson team. To find out more about that, there's Stefan sitting there with Jimmy. We'll be back to Mid-Ohio as the mystery deepens. They're racing heroes. Last year on the Hill Notre Dame, native son Patrick Carpentier saw his chance of a home win evaporate. That is Patrick Carpentier going slowly in the player's car. There you see Patrick Carpentier out of the race and very emotional. And you can be sure that the emotion will be running full bore when the Champ Cars return to Montreal on the beautiful St. Lawrence River. Saturday, August 23rd, we'll have live coverage of second round qualifying at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Then on Sunday, the 24th, the race at 9 p.m. Eastern, only here on Speed Channel. Round 14 of the Bridgestone Presents the Champ Car World Series, powered by Ford. We are now green for 40 minutes of qualifying, 25 minutes of guaranteed green flag time. Here's a look at our weather conditions now. 88-degree ambient temperature, 110-degree track temperature. It is very humid, and as you see, very heavy cloud cover. In fact, during the commercial break, we began to get reports filtering in from some of the corners that there are raindrops in the air. This is Jeff Boss with the Dale Coyne Racing Team. Let's get more on Jimmy Vasser's situation with Derek Daly.
There's a major panic going on here with American Spirit. This is a cleanup job on Jimmy's car. Jimmy, it went so well this morning. 5th fastest, not even new tires. What happened now? Why the panic?
We just went straight out for the 10-minute warm-up. Second lap out, it went terrible grinding noise and lost final drive. So, and the clutch pedal was all the way at the floor when I went for the clutch to try to get some gears down, and so either the clutch blew up or the input shaft, took the clutch out.
Jimmy, can you change cars or do you have to fix this?
Now, with the new rules with the spare car for kart, your spare car has to be unfixable for the race. And that doesn't really matter for qualifying. So, they didn't deem this car unfixable. We just have to try to get it out here in the next 40 minutes. We got to pull the whole back of the thing off and check. See, we don't even know exactly what's wrong.
Boys, we'll check back in, but I don't know whether anybody has changed a clutch inside 40 minutes and got their driver back out for qualifying. That's a tall order for this American Spirit team.
As Jimmy Vasser points out, especially when you don't know exactly what the problem is. Jimmy was only 14th in provisional qualifying on Friday, and virtually everybody was quicker in this morning's practice, topped by Sebastian Bourdais and Bruno Junqueira from the Newman Haas team. So things are not looking good for Jimmy Vasser. And as you see from that car, it is still very, very hot from running in that 10-minute session. Now, qualifying is everything here at Mid-Ohio. Take a look at the 21 previous races here. 9 were won from pole, 4 from second on the grid, 2 from third, and the lowest the winner has ever come from is 8th on the grid. That happened on 2 occasions. So 15 of the 21 runnings of this race have been won from the first 2 rows. Let's get back to the pit lane and Calvin Fish.
Well, down here with the man who sat on the pole and won the race last year, Patrick Carpentier. Mr. Ohio last year, didn't happen at Cleveland. How about tomorrow?
We're going to try pretty hard. We didn't get a good car yesterday, couldn't get the lap, and it was very good this morning. So hopefully we can put it together so I get my chance of streaking and running naked. I love it.
I hope it doesn't happen again, mate. Talk about these sessions. I spoke to Paul and Bruno last night, and they told me that these sessions will improve by up to 2 seconds with the rubber going down. That, to me, is extraordinary amount of time to gain through a 40-minute session.
If they gain 2 seconds from yesterday to today's, that would be a 1:05.2. Man, I'm out of here. So I don't think we have 2 seconds. So I'm hoping that for some reason the track's more slippery today than it was yesterday. So if we can beat the 7.2, 7.1 that Paul did, then that would be good. I think the pole's going to be in the 6s.
Okay, Patrick, good luck.
That's Patrick Carpentier who will shortly be on track. He, like most of the pit lane, is waiting for the session to tick along, and hopefully someone will put some rubber down. This was Patrick Carpentier making good on his pre-race promise a year ago to streak in the pit lane. I'll have something to tell you about that when we return. To Mid-Ohio, where Champ Car final qualifying for the Grand Prix of Mid-Ohio is now underway. Also racing here this weekend, the Toyota Atlantic Championship and the Barber Dodge Pro Series. 2 rungs on the kart ladder of driver development, which begins with kart racing and the Stars of Tomorrow. The Kart Stars of Tomorrow series is producing fast, close, and exciting kart racing at locations all over America. The first rung on the kart development ladder, karting is the training ground of choice for racing stars the world over, including Formula One and Champ Cars. The weapon of choice is a box-banging, slick-tired rocket.
I mean, these karts are very physical. I mean, they actually beat you up a little more than a big kart because they don't have shocks and springs. You know, all the suspension, everything's hard-mounted right through the seat.
The STARS program not only serves to develop tomorrow's Champ Car drivers, but also raises awareness and participation in professional kart racing. Skip Barber scholarships, the Jim Truman Award, and a Toyota Atlantic test are just a part of the rewards available. Want to see more? The Speed Channel will broadcast the action from both the ICC and ICA classes at the Bridgestone Grand Prix of Sonoma, California in separate programs come October. For more information, see speedtv.com or kartstars.com. And here's a look at the upcoming race schedule for the Stars of Tomorrow. British Columbia in September 12th to the 14th. Jacksonville, Florida, a very cool kart track, 19th to the 21st of September. And California Speedway in Fontana, the Super Nationals, a part of the Champ Car season finale on the big California Speedway oval. So be sure to check that out as well. Now let's meet one of the men who is a key to the program, Stars of Tomorrow. He's with Derek Daly.
Indeed, Bobby Rahal really is heading up this phenomenal new Stars of Tomorrow karting championship. But this weekend, of course, he oversees his car driven by Michel Jourdain. Bob, a home race. I presume all your boys sleep at home this weekend.
They do. They like this race. You know, it's close to home.
Bobby, you won here twice, 86, 85, 86. A lot of good memories here. Jim Truman, that whole family, really the support your career got from that family?
Absolutely. You know, without Jim, God knows what I ever would have done or if I ever would have stayed in racing. You know, he really came along at...
Well, we'd never heard of you.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't have. Some people kind of wish for that, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, I look around this place, and most of what you see here, you know, he created back in the early to mid-'80s. He was really ahead of his time in terms of making this circuit fan-friendly, I think. And you know, it's just a great facility, and it is, you know, I had a lot of success here, and being close to home, there's a lot of support from the fans for our team.
Bobby, Michel Jourdain has been such a revelation this year. There are suggestions that the championship might become Tracy and Junqueira. Can you get your boy just with that little spark going again here?
Well, I think, I mean, if you look at it this year, you know, on more than one occasion, Michel's been the only guy that's really taken it to Tracy. You know, at Portland, I don't think there's any question. You know, Michel was passing Paul, and Paul, you know, kept his foot in it, and he won, and Michel didn't. But you know, Michel's not intimidated by Paul, I don't think. And it's just we've had a little bit of bad run of luck. But I think he's got the pace, and you know, Paul's not going to make it easy. But I definitely think it's at least a 3-horse race.
He could well be right. Thank you, Bobby Rahal. Of course, Michel, the winner in just tremendous style at Milwaukee, but could have won Long Beach also.
That's right. And as for Bobby Rahal, 2 poles and 2 victories here at Mid-Ohio. But Bobby, nor any of the drivers who have driven for him as a car owner, have ever won here with a true Team Rahal machine. And this is their home track. Now there's Patrick Carpentier. Moments ago, we saw him running almost naked up the pit lane, as he promised he would do if he won the race last year. Well, after that, he promised he wouldn't ever do something like that again. But I spoke with him yesterday, and he said, you know what? I do have a plan for the podium if I win here. He made me promise I wouldn't tell you what it is, but I think it would be nice if we all hope that Patrick Carpentier doubles up and wins again.
It's not as frightening as last year's.
It might be. Okay. Let's go to Calvin Fish.
Well, a man who had a great qualifying run yesterday is Mario Dominguez in the Herders competition car. 4th yesterday. Conditions in that little practice session were a lot slower. Are you hoping that it stays the same, or are you hoping to move further up the grid today?
No, I think we have a good shot at moving further up the grid. So I don't know. The track definitely seems to be slower right now. For some reason, it got pretty greasy. I don't know if it's the touring cars that ran before, just the heat of the day. But hopefully we can get the track to proper conditions by the end of qualifying and then try to get on the pole.
Earlier in the season, you were battling for podium positions, and right now you're just inside the top 10 in points. What are your goals from here on in through the rest of the season?
My goal would be to finish in the top 6 in the championship. That would be the best thing for me.
Okay, well, good luck with that, and good luck this afternoon, Mario. Bob.
We are now about 12 minutes of green flag time into this session. There are 28 and a half minutes, let's call it, remaining. And remember, not all of that is guaranteed green flag time. And once again, we're hearing reports that it is beginning to rain slightly in some of the corners. But the team remain in the pit lane. There's our old buddy Dave Despain. Have you checked out Dave at his new time and date for Wind Tunnel? Last week, Bobby Rahal, Bruno Junqueira, and many others were Dave's guests. So check out the man himself, the big TV windbag, as he likes to describe himself. Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain, Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern, only here on Speed. Sorry, Dave, that's TK. Rain clouds continue to build over the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, but we still have no cars on track for final qualifying. As I mentioned earlier, the Toyota Atlantic Championship, the top rung of the kart driver development ladder, is also racing here at Mid-Ohio. You'll see that race tomorrow here on Speed Channel, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Now let's take a look back at the long history of the Champ Cars here at Mid-Ohio. Back in 1992, it was Emerson Fittipaldi driving for Marlboro Team Penske, taking the checkers. Emerson is the all-time leading winner here with 3 victories. That particular win was his 4th of the 92 season, coming on the same weekend to the day that he clinched his first Formula One World Championship 20 years earlier. And of course, he is now a Champ Car team owner. Let's go to Derek Daly.
Fittipaldi Dingman is the team. Emerson, you have such great memories of here. I know it was a 20-year anniversary of Formula One World Championship to here, but just great memories of Mid-Ohio.
I love the place, Derek. It's a great fun track. You know, you drove here many years too. It's challenge, it's difficult, it's physically exhausting, and it's a fun track to drive.
Emerson, you're now guiding the career of this young man, Tiago Monteiro. This morning, he was the fastest man in that 10-minute warm-up session. So he's learning a lot, obviously, with guidance from you.
He's a great talent, and he just needs experience. He's learning very fast, Derek, and I think he has a great potential. I'm very happy.
Good, he always looks happy. If you look at the side of the car, they've got O2 diesel on the car this weekend. O2 diesel is an additive that allows diesel and ethanol to be mixed and run in engines, which is environmentally a lot more friendly.
Thanks very much, Derek. You heard an engine fire. There is Mario Haberfeld about to take to the track, and we expect the rest of the field to follow him while they warm up their Bridgestone Racing slicks. We'll take a break and return live to Mid-O. Our broadcast team is headed up by Ralph Shaheen, who absolutely lives and dies with dirt track racing. You'll want to check that out for sure. Welcome back live to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. I'm Bob Varsha with Tommy Kendall, Derek Daly, and Calvin Fisher in the pit lane. You're on board with the 3rd man in the points championship, Michel Jourdain, driving for Team Rahal Letterman in his Gigante Supermarkets Lola Ford, just coming up to speed. Several other cars firing up. Bruno Junqueira is leaving the pit lane. And we have just over 21 and a half minutes remaining in the session. Tommy Kendall, once again, these guys are cutting it awfully close.
Well, but the session has really changed, and they do it anyways because they always think they're going to be the one that gets the clear lap. But if the track stays this much slower, only one guy will improve today. So it's worth a riskier proposition. All you need is one lap. If you don't get it, you're going to start where you did yesterday anyways. It's not like you have a chance, if you do it right, to move up 2, 3, 4 spots. It's all or nothing. If you're the quickest today, you're going to start second. Unless you had a huge problem yesterday, most guys won't be improving unless we see the track improve, 2 to 2.5 seconds from where it was during the 10-minute warm-up.
Right now, the man who is fastest in the session and for the moment sits on the outside of the front row for Sunday's race is Jeff Boss with Dale Coyne Racing. Here's Derek Daly.
And Dale Coyne Racing may not be one of the front runners every weekend, but Dale Coyne has given the opportunity to many young drivers. They're a very hard-working team. Jeff Boss, of course, is one of the young drivers now sponsored by Cross Pens, which they have a family connection. But one of the interesting things about Dale Coyne, you know, the very first Champ Car race that I did in Phoenix in 1982, Dale was a mechanic on my car. But not only that, Paul Tracy, who's a big star right now, started his Champ Car career in one of Dale Coyne's cars. That was his very first race.
And he did it by, you know, ponying up and renting a ride, you know, much like Scott Pruitt did with Dick Simon. So they are a valuable part of the food chain. You know, people might say, gosh, Dale Coyne never runs up front. But a lot of guys would never have gotten a first shot in a Champ Car unless it was for Dale Coyne's operation being a rental operation.
Speaking of Paul Tracy, he got his first test in a Champ Car with Steve Horn and the True Sports team right here at Mid-Ohio. It wasn't that long ago, but boy, is there a difference in Paul Tracy between then and now. As you see, Paul remains in the pit lane, watching the clock, watching to see if anyone gets close to his time. I wouldn't be surprised if Paul Tracy doesn't go out if he doesn't think anybody's going to get close.
I think he'll go out. I don't think he'll make 2 runs, but I'd be surprised if he didn't make 1 run for that extra point. Bruno's the only guy who has swept all the points available on a weekend. He did it last weekend. And so I think Paul would like to, you know, at least use 1 set of tires, see what he's got. Doesn't have a whole lot of stock in it because the worst he'll start at second, but I would be surprised if he didn't at least make 1 run.
There's Darren Manning, who's just gone around Alex Tagliani as more and more cars head for the racetrack.
Unfortunate news, boys, for Jimmy Vasser. It is a broken transmission. He is done today, cannot take part in qualifying. Jimmy was having his best weekend. He was 5th fastest in this morning's session without the benefit of new tires.
Well, he's already been bumped back to 16th. 108.125. Jimmy actually logged a 68.002. As I mentioned earlier, he brought out a red flag at the end of yesterday's first round of qualifying, so he lost his best lap. And that 108.125 left him 14th. He's dropping back down the field as others improve. There's Mario Haberfeld, currently running P2. With the best time of the session, a 68.660. Calvin Fish.
One team we expected to do very well here this weekend is the Vistion team. They tested well with Oriol Servia. Jim McGee currently looks at the timing monitor. Jim, talk about strategy. I mean, everyone's playing it down at the wire. Are you even going to have a chance for 2 runs today?
Well, the track isn't just there yet. You know, the track's slow. This place is a crazy place because it depends on conditions, and this track can be 2 seconds off, and right now it seems to be off a little bit. So, you know, rather than to waste a set of tires, we're just going to wait till we see the track come around.
Okay, but then obviously if you are fastest in this session, even if it's a slow time, it puts you on the front row, so a lot to play for still.
Yeah, you just got to kind of wait till the end here today. It's a gamble, but you just got to wait.
All right, Jim, best of luck. Let's go down to Double D.
I think we're having a problem with Derek's microphone. We'll work on that. Meanwhile, you saw Mario Haberfeld slowing to gap the field. This is Darren Manning, who was just moved to P2 with a 68.529. So he moves to the outside of the front row. Still 1.3 seconds off of Paul Tracy's provisional pole time from yesterday afternoon. Here comes a quick part of the racetrack. Thunder Valley. Another blind corner, then a kink to the left and into the carousel. I believe Derek Daly's back with us.
Yes, indeed, Derek Walker is here. Derek, your driver, Darren Manning, fastest on Friday morning. Vasser was very quick this morning. This overcloud weather is good for these Reynards.
Yeah, we just need a little bit more of it, Derek. It all helps. The cooler temperature definitely helps.
Now, how much do you think time do you lose, Derek, when it gets hot and when it gets sticky?
Yeah, I mean, we have to change the car quite a lot, really, to make the conditions suit. So right now we're staying with the cooler conditions. Hopefully it'll work.
Essentially because the cooler conditions masks the fact that the Reynard just does not have the same downforce levels enjoyed by the Lola.
I think it's more front downforce levels. You talked about Darren Manning at the start of the show. He says the air is, you know, the pressure goes up. What he means is the cooler air is denser. And so it's more molecules per unit of volume. And so it makes the surfaces work better. It makes the underbody and the front wing, for whatever reason, it seems to shift the center of pressure towards the front, and the Reynard does not fight the understeer that it fights other time. When the temperature gets hot and the pressure switches back, they make all kind of changes to mask that, different springs and so forth, to try to pick up mechanical grip to help the front work, balance, counteracting what's happening with the hot air.
Here's an update on timing and scoring. Tiago Montero, the rookie from Fittipaldi Dingman, went up into the second spot briefly, breaking into the 67-second zone. And he is immediately bumped by Patrick Carpentier with a 67.662.
And that is only 5/100 slower than Pat went yesterday. So at some point here, you might have a situation where you can conceivably bump Tracy off the pole, and all of a sudden everybody stands to boost their times from yesterday. The guy that really is playing the most dangerous game is Bruno Junqueira. He was way back in 11th, and as we say that, he starts to move back further. Actually, no, he's in 12th now.
He has improved from a 68.0 yesterday to a 67.8 today. But right now he's 12th. Now he hops up to 10th. On board with Patrick Carpentier, still in second. Oh, he's about down to 5th. Even though he improved, he has a 67.5 now, but Sebastian Bourdais takes over P2 at 67.4. He's within 0.2 of Paul Tracy's pole. There is Bourdais.
We've had 25 minutes of green time, so if there's any red, if a red comes out now, that will be time that the guys lose. If there's a big red, the session could be over.
Sebastian Bourdais says he's been studying videos of previous races on the Champ Car circuit to learn the racetracks. A lot of young drivers use video games, which are incredibly precise and authentic. But Sebastian Bourdais is more of a traditionalist. He'd rather watch videotape.
Now, right before we cut away, Bruno going down through the keyhole, and the car picked up a little bit of understeer when the road dropped away, and you could see he slid off more onto the concrete patch, off that sticky asphalt groove on the inside. Shows how hard he's pushing. Whether or not it costs him time-wise, we'll have to wait till he gets back around.
I apologize for the breakup on our onboard cameras, but the weather is closing in such that we can't get our receiver mounted on a helicopter high enough to get a good signal. On board with Bruno Junqueira. We'll stay with the signal as long as it holds. Turn one. Very fast left-hander. A straight blast up to the keyhole. Off camber, diving right-hander. It's one of those concrete patches Tommy Kendall was talking about.
And that time he was able to keep his right front pinned to the curb on the inside, which is what you like to see. His last lap was a 7.5. Which is 0.3 off the pole. You see this lap is starting out much better.
Through 12 previous races, on 8 occasions, the front row of the Champ Car grid has been made up of some combination of Paul Tracy, Bruno Junqueira, and Sebastian Bourdais. 4 times it was Bourdais and Tracy in that order. Twice Tracy and Junqueira, twice Bourdais and Junqueira.
And Tracy has just lowered his time below yesterday's pole time, so 107.0 for Paul Tracy. Carpentier has improved. He's gone quicker than he went yesterday, a 107.2. So things heating up big time at the top. And Bruno's lap, a 107.300, puts him up into 3rd.
By just 0.04 of a second over his teammate Bourdais. And then a long rash of drivers, Tagliani, Dominguez, Jourdain, Servia, Moreno, and Hunter Ray, who have yet to improve on their first round qualifying performances. Tracy might be on a cool down lap here.
We'll have to see whether he's cooling it off and going to make another run, or if he's going to come in for another set of tires.
Dimitri Carpentier makes his way back to the pit lane here. He should have a chance for a second run. Currently third. He's working with a brand new engineer this weekend, Eric Zito. Mike Cannon, his regular engineer. They've had a change around. They're trying to look for a little change in chemistry, possibly. We're not sure what Mike's situation is with the team, but certainly a new engineer. And Pat always runs well here at Mid-Ohio. It's one of his favorite circuits. Won here last year in the rain out, of course, so a different car combination here this weekend. But he was third fastest this morning on old tires, so he came into this qualifying session extremely confident. The team are now setting up, making some minor adjustments, getting ready for a second run.
Paul has started another run on this set of tires. He cooled the tires off, looked for a spot. You saw him seek a little bit of a tow from Montero before he pulled out to pass.
Ryan Hunter-Reay has jumped up to 6th with a 67.446.
This lap looks good for Paul. Not as quick as his prior one, a 7.3.
There's Ryan Hunter-Reay coming in off that great pass. He is currently in the number 5 spot at 67.446.
That is
get
a great
new
run.
set of tires. Tess Bralia, one of the few female mechanics you'll ever see, working the left front. Let's go to Derek Daly.
And Alex Tagliani is currently in the pit lane. Yesterday, he was officially second fastest in qualifying. Paul, I know it's a bit of a gamble in qualifying, but can you stay on the front row like you did yesterday?
Well, we don't know. These last changes, the weather changed a little bit. We went a wrong direction with the race car, so we're slower than we were. We've made some changes to go back. We'll know in 6 or 7 laps whether we got a car that can be up front.
We can't wait.
Be interesting to find out if they made those changes after that 10-minute warm-up. That's exactly what Newman Haas was trying to avoid with Bourdais. When I talked to the start of the championship, needing to filter out the noise, that's some of the noise you have to filter out on a given weekend. Identify when it's the track that's giving you a reading, whether it's old tires reading. And so Craig Hampson decided they didn't even want to be tempted. Engineers like to fix things. If you go out, and we had a radio communication from Alex Tagliani, in that 10 minutes, he says the car is horrible, it's terrible everywhere. Whether they changed it to chase that or not, be interesting to hear.
A bunch of cars running together here. That's Tagliani, followed by Max Pappas. Darren Manning going slowly. One of the coin cars trying to get under him. That's Walter Salas in the number 19.
And on Bourdais' second run, he is slotted into second. Not as quick as Paul's time today, so Paul would sweep both points if it ended like it did now. But Bourdais' 107.130 has him in second spot, bumping Carpentier back to third.
And of course, if Tracy holds on and picks up that second championship bonus point, he moves to within 1 of the championship leader, Bruno Junqueira, who's currently 4th.
Speaking of Bruno, Bob, they're in the pit lane right now. They're making a slight ride height adjustment. They're going to drop the car a little bit. Typically, you want to run these cars as near to the deck as you possibly can, but this track is very bumpy now. Over the course of the years, it's really starting to get bumpy, particularly through the fast left-hander, turn 11, before the carousel. So you got to be careful you don't get the car too low, otherwise it washes out through there. But Bruno is just looking for a little bit of an edge, but he's back in the ball game again today.
Just watches Ryan Hunter-Reay, his second car leave. Stefan, disappointment for Jimmy, but Ryan Hunter-Reay is having a superb qualifying session.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic job so far. Hopefully we can squeeze a little bit more. He said he could squeeze a little bit more out of it, so...
Derek Walker says he hoped the sun doesn't come out.
Yeah, so do we. Well, I mean, we've been good in the sun and you know, when the cloud's been out. The car's just good this weekend, so, you know, hopefully ground will... Track's going to come in a little bit more, I think, in the next few minutes here. You know, he gets rubbered up more, but he reckons he can get a bit more out of it, so let's hope so.
Thank you, Stefan. Now, although this is a new team, there's lots of experience here because Graham Taylor, the man you're looking at right here, is the technical director. Graham, of course, is ex-Arrow's Formula One team, so there's plenty of experience on this team.
Thank you, Derek. Right now, we're looking at Adrian Fernandez working a hot lap. Fernandez currently in 13th place on the grid. Drop in a little telemetry here.
Look how quickly they scrub off 80 miles per hour.
22 gear shifts per lap and 3 G's of lateral acceleration. That is trying to tear your head off your shoulders. Now, this team has also had an engineering change this weekend. Dave Watson, who was with the team from the beginning of the year, has left the team. And Chris Finch, in his 3rd season with Fernandez Racing, is now engineering Adrian's car. This is the 8-9 complex.
When I read the post-race quote from Elkhart Lake where Adrian said, "I'm very disappointed in the team."
Right. He's been unhappy.
I figured there were going to be some changes made.
Yep. Out of the carousel. Big dip here and then on to the start-finish straightaway. Love this corner, turn 1. Remember when Alex Zanardi went bounding across the grass, never lifted, just put her back on the dirty stuff, and away he went. Tracy remains the provisional pole sitter, a 7.0 with less than 4.5 minutes to go in the session. No drivers really in danger of using up their 15 allotted laps in this session. Thiago Montero has used 12, the same for Max Pappas. Well, Walter Salas is now out. He has just completed his 14th. There's Patrick Carpentier, currently provisionally 3rd. With a 7.2. So 0.4 of a second cover the top 5 drivers on the grid, and that was a bit of a lurid moment.
Well, you saw how he carried a bunch of speed in, turned in a little early, hit the curb with the right front, and then got big oversteer as a result when the car started pogoing.
Pogoing, that's a technical term.
Yeah, very scientific.
Well, this is nasty through here. There's the Pacific Care car. Notice the hole in the wall gang logo on the back wing of Bruno Junqueira's Pacific Care Lola. Paul Tracy and Paul Newman, who of course founded the hole in the wall gang camps, took his driver Sebastian Bourdais to France recently to visit one of the camps. I understand Sebastian was quite moved by seeing all the young campers with their terrible illnesses at those camps were founded by Paul Newman to serve.
Sebastian Bourdais, Bob, has actually made a front suspension change for this second run here. A little bit of understeer we're starting to hear along pit road with these slick conditions, as TK mentioned. That's typically the way the car goes in terms of losing a little bit of front-end grip. Also, I spoke to Neil Mickelwright on Paul Tracy's situation. He said the car had a bit too much understeer. We were running out of time. We just sent him back out with fresh Bridgestones.
Less than 2.5 minutes to go. Now notice the top 10 on the left. There's a little yellow arrowhead that appears next to a driver's name if he is in the pit. There are none. All of the top 10 drivers are on track right now.
Little traffic ahead of Bruno. Bruno got in too hot, slid way wide over the concrete. You can see he set up wide in the carousel to get a good run onto the straightaway to start that lap, but he overcooked it into the keyhole.
On board with Paul Tracy.
Paul Tracy right in front of Bruno. He's talking on the radio.
Paul's going to have to be careful here. He's not on a hot lap. And officials are going to be watching for obstruction.
Well, since Bruno has backed off behind him, that's coming up over 10, I think.
Mario Dominguez has backed it into the tires.
Up over 9.
And now the red flag comes out.
That will seal it. So Hunter Ray jumps to second. 200ths behind Paul Tracy.
Wow. He completely went under the radar on that one. Dominguez will lose his best lap.
And Jourdain in the closing seconds just before that red jumped up to 4th.
Wow, what a run for this kid. From Boca Raton, Florida, Ryan Hunter Ray just got across the timing stripe before the red flag came out.
And boy, did he need that.
Oh, man. There is Paul Tracy, who picks up another championship point with his 5th pole of the 2003 season and first ever here at Mid-Ohio. His 18th career pole ties him with Bobby Rahal for 5th on the all-time list. We'll hear from him in a moment as the clouds continue to build, although we have bright sunshine on much of the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Stay with us. Welcome back live to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Here's a look at the top 5 in qualifying for the Champ Car Grand Prix of Mid-Ohio. And unquestionably, the big story is P2. 22-year-old Champ Car rookie Ryan Hunter-Reay matches times with Paul Tracy, and they will start shoulder to shoulder on the front row in Sunday's race. Let's get down to the pit lane and Calvin Fish.
5th time this year is going to be Paul Tracy starting from the pole. Can you smile now?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. You know, we waited a long time. The track was 3-4 seconds off when we started, so we knew that we weren't going to go out there and use the Bridgestones for no reason. And we waited, and then went out. My 3rd lap was quicker than my my time from yesterday. So the team really played that right, and you know, then we went out on the 2nd set of tires and I did another lap right at about the same time, and then it went red. So I think the next lap would have been quicker again.
Traffic going to be an issue tomorrow, Paul. Certainly in that qualifying run, I think Bruno got in the way a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I got on the radio and said, hey, he's holding me up, and right away, 10 seconds later, he moved over. So it shows that they're listening to us, and you know, I'm just happy for team players. We got another pole, and the grid's kind of mixed up. So it's the guys that are up there right now definitely want to have good finishes, so they're going to fight hard.
Talk about that, starting alongside a rookie, Ryan Hunter-Reay, on the front row tomorrow alongside you. Any thoughts right now?
I mean, it shows that the Reynard is still capable of getting the time. I mean, that's the same car that players ran last year with players set up on it, so it shows that the car's still got capability.
Okay, PT, well done. Way to jump back, baby. Okay, let's go down to Derek Daly with Ryan.
Well, Stefan Johansson just on the phone here to Dan Benton, one of the owners here, one of the investors for American Spirit. Ryan, all you can say is, wow, where did that come from?
That's awesome. Now, I mean, we've been working so hard this weekend. Our pace has been there. And actually, it took a lot of discipline for what we did that time. We really saved it till the end and put the car on the track at the right time. Everybody did an awesome job. Everybody deserves it.
But you gave a hint of this yesterday, because yesterday you also the fastest Reynard.
Yeah. It's been a good weekend, you know. We got the setup, we're clicking, we got everything together, and we're going fast. It's all coming together, so it's awesome. Highest Reynard all year now.
Come on, tell me what you really feel like.
I feel like screaming. I need to do good tomorrow. You know, we need to get it all together tomorrow and have a good race, good pit stops, and then I'll scream.
Let me just tell you, with what you've done today, you can go ahead and scream. Yeah. Ryan Hunter-Reay, what a great performance for this American Spirit Team Johansson team.
Boy, you've got that right, Derek. There's Paul Tracy waving the pole winner flag with former chief steward of the series and a great Champ Car driver in his own right, Wally Dallenbach. 5th pole of the season for Paul Tracy. That's a career high for a guy that we always associate blinding speed over a single lap. There is Sebastian Bourdais, provisionally 3rd on the grid, and Calvin Fish is there.
Sebastian, going over the notes here with Craig Hampson. I saw a slight smile. Happy with that run?
No, we've been toasted twice. Then I cannot be happy because, I mean, we had the car to make the pole position. There's no doubt about it. And
happened to you yesterday. You had 3rd position, then the red flag eradicated that lap, and same thing happened today, I assume.
Yeah, we were 2/10 quicker than the best lap, and the raid came out. Then again, couldn't finish the lap.
But race tomorrow is going to be a long, tough one, physically demanding. I mean, Cleveland was tough, but this place, I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but, you know, this, after 200 miles plus around here, you're really going to be working hard.
I think it's less bumpy than Cleveland, then it should be okay, but it's true that it's the 2nd hardest race of the year. Then I suppose it's going to be our time tomorrow, but the Lilly crew did a great job, and we look pretty fine.
Okay, Sebastian, great job. Currently 4th in points. Looking for that 4th win tomorrow, Bob.
Well, let's take a look at the points as Sebastian Bourdais puts an arm around his forlorn engineer, Craig Hampson. Here's a look at the championship, now down to 1 point as Paul Tracy has rebounded from the disappointment of that crash at Road America by picking up both championship points in qualifying this weekend. We'll be right back.
To the end of the qualifying session here at Mid-Ohio. Of course, Team Rahal, the Gigante team, very much the hometown team here. And their driver, Michel Jourdain, finishes in 4th place. best qualifying since Kenny Bracken 2000. But are you frustrated at all, Michel? You don't look like you have a smile on your face.
Well, I mean, I'm happy in a way because we didn't have a very good test here, and the last couple of road courses we haven't been very good, you know, since Laguna or Portland. So I'm happy that we are a little faster. At the end, I'm sure everybody has the same story with the red. I'm sure everybody is like me. We had a very good lap going there, but I mean, fourth is good. I hope Ryan gets a good start tomorrow, so our road doesn't get like that. I hope he has one like Bruno did in Vancouver.
So might you go talk to him? I mean, a rookie, front row, first time, all new for him. Would you go have a little chat to him?
Well, he has Jimmy there, you know. I mean, I don't want to get him nervous, you know. That's the last thing I want. I'm the one that is more interested so that he has a good start. So he has Jimmy there, and Stefan, so he'll get good help.
I think he will. Calvin?
Here with Bruno Junqueira leading the championship. Bruno, quarter of a second covers the first 6, but that puts you 6. Thoughts for tomorrow?
Yeah, the field is pretty close. Unfortunately, couldn't get a run in the second set. Some guys didn't, but 2 or 3 guys that are in front of us improved on the second set. I mean, it's a very long race tomorrow, 92 laps, and I think the Pacific car is a very good race car, and I hope we can have a good race and get a great result.
Last year was extremely difficult to pass here at Mid-Ohio with the lack of traction control, tire management, more of an issue this year. Do you think we'll see some drop-off in lap times and maybe that will allow more passing tomorrow?
I think so. I think the only problem is that everybody's so close together that it's really difficult to lap faster than the guy in the front to be able to pass. But I'm pretty sure that my car is good and you can go forward tomorrow on the race.
All right, Bruno, good luck tomorrow. Finished in the top 5 every race other than Milwaukee. Let's get down to Derek Daly.
You can see Alex Tagliani's motorcycle here ready to take him away. Front row yesterday, are you slightly disappointed? Did you get a good run? Did you get all the speed out of the car?
Not really. I mean, I don't think we had everything right on the car today. We made some adjustment, but we didn't follow the track really well, and we were not even able to match our lap from yesterday, so it's quite disappointing because the car was good yesterday, and just a very slightly improvement would have been like, again, good for the front row. So I guess we have to work a little bit harder on the car.
Yeah, a little bit more work on the technical side. Thank you, Alex. Calvin?
Down here with Patrick Carpentier. I'm sure he's a little bit disappointed, currently in another interview. See if we can break in here. Okay, we're going to have to get back to Pat.
Okay, thanks very much, Calvin. Alex Tagliani brought up an interesting note. He did not improve on his performance from yesterday. Nearly half the field, 7 of the 19 drivers, did not improve. Of course, that included Jimmy Vasser, whose broken gearbox prevented him from posting any second-round time at all. Looks pretty forbidding out there. We'll be right back.
What if you could earn your
Channel live coverage of qualifying for the Champ Car Grand Prix of Mid-Ohio is being brought to you by Bridgestone Tires, advanced technology that gives you a grip on the future. And by foolingly threatening over the Mid-Ohio sports car course. Time for final thoughts as qualifying is now complete for round 13 of the Bridgestone Presents the Champ Car World Series, powered by Ford. Let's begin with Derek Daly.
Well, the American spirit is alive and well because what a great performance by Ryan Hunter. So as the championship goes forward and it's fought out, we now have a rookie right in the middle of the mix at the front. Can that Raynard be fast all through tomorrow? Can he be mistake-free? Or can Ryan Hunter-Ray have an effect on the outcome of the championship? Tomorrow we'll know that question. Calvin?
Derek, tomorrow's race will be torturous. 92 laps around this racetrack, more physical than anyone we run on. Sebastian Bourdais said Cleveland is bumpy, but you're constantly turning here. There's no rest around this racetrack. The championship contenders, they have to be mistake-free, not only on the racetrack, but also here in pit lane if they're going to see the top step of the podium, Bob.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. We'll give you a look at the field for tomorrow's race. Final thoughts, Tommy Kendall?
Well, in looking at the championship, in Germany, Professor Kendall Schlong told Paul Tracy, and he'll say it again today, it's not how great you are when you're good, it's how good you are when you're bad. And Bruno Junqueira is a perfect example of that. From here on out, it might be the guy who makes the fewest mistakes.
We're making a big deal about Ryan Hunter-Ray being up there on the front row, but don't forget another rookie has shared the front row this year with a veteran. In fact, he did it 6 times. His name is Sebastian Bourdais. By sweeping both of those championship points, it stands this way. Paul Tracy now just 1 behind Bruno Junqueira. in a championship battle that I'm sure will go right down to the final race of the season. And that's a long way away, 7 races in all. Be sure to join us tomorrow. We'll begin our pre-race coverage in advance of the Champ Car Grand Prix of Mid-Ohio at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, so be sure to tune in for that. Coming up next here on Speed Channel, the Barber Dodge Pro Series race from Burt Lakefront Airport in Cleveland, Ohio. We have a mixed weather forecast through the weekend. It could look very much like this tomorrow, race day here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, and that will only add another element of unpredictability to what will surely be a terrific race. We'll see you beginning at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. Until then, for Tommy Kendall, Calvin Fish, and Derek Daly, I'm Bob Varsha. We'll see you tomorrow live from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course here on Speed Channel. So long, everyone. With the same goal in mind.